If everyone please join and stand for the pledge of allegiance. Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, since Lucy is absent, I'm gonna ask Dr. K to do roll call.
Sure, President Schneider,
Here.
Vice President Dwyers,
Here.
Treasurer Barton is absent, Secretary Spraggs,
Here.
Director Schwartz,
Here.
Director Tibbetts is gone, and Director Harbison.
Here.
We have a quorum.
All right, thank you. We need to amend or adopt the agenda, so I'd entertain a motion for either one of those.
I move we approve the agenda as presented.
I'll second.
Thank you, Carolyn. We have a motion and a second to adopt the agenda as presented. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Agenda is adopted. First item of business is recognitions. And we have the Warren County R3 Maintenance Department for recognition.
You got here just in time.
Just in
Really good at that.
Always something going on, for sure. So, we would like to recognize the maintenance department tonight, and we have Mr. Busby here as our Director of Maintenance. Accept this on behalf of the maintenance staff. Over winter break, we try to give everybody time off. It's kind of a goal of ours. But this winter, we had a lot of things break. We had 3 freezers go down. Guys had to come in to empty the freezers, get the food out, save all the food. We even had a pretty significant, smoke event at Warrior Ridge, and which was a power outage there all at the same time. And so we appreciate these guys, even though when they're off, they're here to make sure that school can run and operate safely when we need it to. So really appreciate you guys, and I just want to get a quick picture with you here. So thank you.
Thank you, Zach, and thank your staff.
Good group of guys.
Congratulations. And just right here?
Yeah, you're good.
No? Okay. All right, next section is patron comments. I don't believe we have any public comments. Do we?
No public
Okay.
comments.
Alright. We move on to next section, which is superintendent reports. First one of those will be the construction update for the new Daniel Boone School.
Yep, we have Matt McDermott here from Florida Architects to kind of walk us through where we are.
We got to you quickly, didn't we?
Rolling through.
To kind of give us an update on the new building.
All right, well, good evening, everyone. Good to be here. Hope everybody had a good holiday. Happy New Year. Welcome to January, right? Whether you like it or not. Okay, so just like last time, just give you that aerial view of the site plan, just for orientation, to know that the tan is where the building is, obviously the green is the grass, and then the gray area. Highway 47 is along the left side, and Ash Road is along the top. So just that reorientation, keep everybody on the same page. So, starting off, we're looking down towards Ash Road. They have put the seat mat down on the basin, so that's tidied up, can control what Mother Nature may throw at us, like today with rain, and the next month, who knows what the roller coaster of weather will bring. But that's a good thing to get that basin tidied up. Swinging around, looking towards 47, the concrete parking areas have been poured. Kind of showed you that last time they were working on that. Well, they've striped it now, and all the workers are now parking there. So they're coming in, parking on that, rather than getting through some of the mud and the rock. So that helps clean up some of the activity going on to Ash Road with the construction workers. And the section, is there a pointer on here, Greg? No, okay. So next up, we're swinging totally around, looking south at, excuse me, the field area.
North.
North, sorry.
You're okay.
North, south.
That's north.
Okay. At the dirt field, last time they were stockpiling dirt there, they had leveled that off, started filling in around the building, so that's a good thing, and they're gonna keep moving around with that. All right, now, see your parking lot up front off Ash, I'm sorry, brickwork on the side of the gymnasium slash storm shelter. You can see the mansard roof going around the storm shelter that will hide all the rooftop units. That's the upper section there, and then as you come down to the lower section, that's your music room and a couple of classrooms, and then as you swing down from that towards that center courtyard, that's where the administration area is down below that. So you can see those white piles, that's all rigid insulation sitting on the roof that they're putting down on the roof for insulation, screwing that down to the deck, and they're starting to put some membrane roof down. And the gray area there to the right, that's your cafeteria multipurpose room sticking up in the front, and then just to the right of that, by those two white vans parked there, that is your food service, kitchen, and mechanical room area. So they're getting under roof. There's still a lot, we'll show you some other pictures, but they still got a little bit of work to do to get closed in around the perimeter walls with all the rain and that. So they are not weather tight yet. So just a better view of your red brick and your buff color on the ground face and on the storm shelter. Sitting down, picture looking up at that, you can see the herringbone pattern with the dark brick. That gray area is where the canopy will go, or your entrance canopy for kids to come and go. So that will all be covered up when you're finished. So all you'll see is the red brick and that accent brick. Swinging back up into the air, looking straight down at the multipurpose cafeteria roof that has got the ice and water shield on it, so that is basically 90% weather tight. And then just to the bottom of that is your kitchen area, food service area, and then to the left of that's the main mechanical room. Swinging back, looking back at the two classroom wings, you can see the lower left classroom wing has the insulation down and the ice and water shield, so they are pretty much 90% watertight. Then if you go up to the upper right, you can see the trusses and some of the metal deck is still getting put down, so they're still a little bit open to Mother Nature. And then just a better view of the two classroom wings. And back on the left, you see that little bit of yellow area. We'll come back to that later. That is that alternate classroom addition that you approved. They have footings and foundations, and the yellow part is the vapor barrier put underneath the concrete slab. So they jumped in and got on that right away. So jumping into your south classroom wing, you can see the masonry walls going up, some door frames for your corridor walls. That's looking straight down the main corridor. Up above, you can see ductwork, piping, fire protection, electrical conduit, all full throttle in that wing. This is just a better look at unit strut supporting some of that ductwork, fire protection lines, electrical lines, and ductwork transitions going from your main trunk line in the hallway, jumping into each classroom. And then jumping into a classroom, there's a couple pictures here just to show you that they've got some interior block walls up that are starting to drywall because they basically are in the dry here, so they can put the drywall and start taping. They've got some temporary heat in there, temporary lights. They're running ductwork, insulating the ductwork, fire protection lines, and then electric conduits and everything. So they're moving along real well. That's a picture of an outside wall. All the windows are boarded up until they get their windows in and get the brick veneer on the outside. So that helps them control Mother Nature and keep the guys somewhat controlled with temperature when it does get cold. Another exterior wall, you can see the drywall tape coming down from the top. They start at the top, working their way down, and moving along pretty good. So that's always good to start seeing drywall on the side. So the center courtyard between your two classroom wings, the yellow is exterior sheathing. The black that's below that is the air vapor barrier happening with their family,
Yeah,
so. It'll get done, there's really no rush on that classroom wing, so. All right, then jumping into the north classroom wing, not a lot here other than utilities they can put in for piping because they're not weather tight with the roof on yet. So they can put sprinkler piping in that's cast iron, they can get some, rigid conduits, unistrut put in, but they're not doing a lot more than that until they get a little weather tight. So just some pictures there, you can see in the distance, concrete block, partitions going up in between the classrooms, and you can see on the right side is the corridor wall with the door recess for the classroom door, and then the outside walls will probably stay just studded for now until we get a roof on them before they can start insulating and drywall. Last time I showed you just the foundations and footings. This is the ramp, switchback ramp that goes up to the raised area for your music room, which also takes you through the back door onto the stage. So that's moving along, and we'll be able to start pouring that ramp here soon. Jumping into the main gym / storm shelter, you can see now that the ductwork's up around the perimeter for heating and cooling. You can see some steel plates up on top, so any penetration that is into this facility to control the 250-mile-an-hour winds and to control a 100-mile-an-hour missile type, what they call like a 2x4 flying horizontally. Those plates are put in for any rooftop unit or ductwork that would get blown off of the roof. That plate is there to protect anything that would be dropped in a tornado straight down through or flying horizontally would hit that plate and basically deflect it back out and not into the space. And then swinging around, you can see the steps at the bottom there forward going up to your stage. They're starting to put the one stage wall, you can see the block wall in the background there, and some more of that ductwork, excuse me, that's steel plates that are your ductwork transitions. So when you come in through that penetration, you have to go into the space, do a 90, and come straight up. So something horizontal would fly through that opening, would hit that back plate, bounce, and go up, and stop the debris from flying into the storm shelter. Cafeteria, multi-purpose room, with the hip roof. On the left, you can see the tenting. The mason has put tenting up for some of the cold days we had here not too long ago, so they could keep putting up masonry on the cafeteria wall. And then in the background, you can see the two window openings on the end of the cafeteria and some more masonry going up on that wall. So these pictures were taken yesterday, so they had a great day yesterday and today until Mother Nature kicked in. The generator is here and in place, which is wonderful, because had we done this 6 months to a year ago, that they would have told us 45 weeks to get the generator because of everything going on in the world. So we have a generator for backup power that provides up to 2 hours plus in a storm event. If there's a power failure, you're required to have a minimum of 2 hours of power control in a storm event. So it's great to have that generator here. Swinging around, so last time I showed you they were pouring the slab and the footings for the air handling unit that serves that storm shelter. So the unit is sitting there in place. They've got some blankets over it, as you can see. But it's good to have that unit on site too, because those were 60 months out, not a year to year and a half ago. So jumping back outside, so these are concrete piers. This will be for your 2 cooling tower units on the HVAC system that will be sitting outside, fenced in by a courtyard area, but that's the piers, and they're up high simply because piping needs to come out of the bottom of them and pipe into the building, and need space for Zach and his guys to get under there and do any maintenance down the road. And then just swinging around, the trash enclosures, you can see the bollards in there to control the dumpsters, and we've got our foundations in, rebar cages coming up, we'll start putting in block walls. Overall, they're really making good progress with the roller coaster of weather. Just a couple other items. Gas to the building. The company, you've seen them out there running the gas line all the way down 47. The entire gas line is installed. Right now, Greg provided the mailing address for the bills and then the school final address to the gas company. gas line, which is great. MoDOT meetings, we are meeting monthly. Frankie, Greg, and I meet monthly with MoDOT, so that we have an update just to keep that moving. So the meeting is with MoDOT's team, CBB, which is your traffic engineer. Obviously, the school district. Ameren has jumped in a couple times on that, just to be in the loop. Lewis Beatty is also participating in that. So Greg has asked CBB to provide an update on budget numbers, just to say, now that we've done a lot of drawings, we've got more information, are we still at the previous numbers that MoDOT was asking the school district for? So CBB is working on that. They've been asked by MoDOT to do an environmental report and an archaeological study, so you have some of that later on for approval on your agenda. I don't know what they'll find, but that's good, you know, they just wanna check the dirt, so that's all good. So we'll do the archaeological study. Civil-wise, Lewis Beatty working with everybody, they're working on a boundary lot adjustment and some additional topo work required for the turn lanes and the widening of the highway and all that, so Bart and his team are doing that, they're doing a great job. And then SCI, that's also, I think, on your agenda too, there's some additional special inspections since you awarded the additional classrooms, so SCI will be out there a little longer doing special inspections for concrete and masonry and some of the steel. Just one of those things, not a lot of cost, but they need to do that for the building department and the fire district, so. That's kind of what's happening. Any clarifications or questions or concerns? They're well ahead of schedule. Provided February and March in Mother Nature. Could be even sooner, but right now, we're good. So there's the schedule that we had originally planned with them. Final completion being in December. We'll be months ahead of that, the way this crew's working, so it's a good thing. So,
More like July or early August.
right, yeah. So, Mother
Tyler's-
Nature.
Tyler's pretty confident.
Tyler's on it, you have a very good superintendent out there for GSNS.
Wonderful. Thank you for updating us.
Oh, very well. Thanks for having me.
Yes.
Anything?
Any questions? Good update, thank you.
Awesome, thank you.
Thanks,
Thank
Matt.
you.
Thanks for
You're
coming.
very welcome.
All right. Next on the superintendent reports, we have the CSIP program evaluations. Let's send Dr. Case in there.
Yes, this is just our annual CSIP, which we talk about quarterly also, but this is more, a little bit comprehensive more. Just a reminder of the process we had a 36-member committee that met to review CSIP. They requested data in various areas for this. We divided into subcommittees. Those subcommittees then develop goals, and then the administration put action steps together to help achieve those goals. So what we're trying to do here, goal one is our focus area is student achievement. And so this is last year's A+ numbers at 17%, so that's not met. Our goal is to be, see that rate increase 3%, so that's our baseline. Goal two is the reading goal, and when we looked at our data from December, we really looked pretty good on reading. So I've seen some good growth and things are looking good, so we did meet this at 76%, which we typically have not met that goal. So this is one we just barely got over the line, but it's looking very promising. So hopefully that'll hold throughout the year, and we'll continue to monitor that, obviously. But right now, it's showing that it has been met. So we want to continue to improve on that, obviously, but that's where we are. Goal three, this is we want to have 5 out of 8 math courses meet or exceed the state standard, and we had 1 in 2025, so that's not bad. We have some things working on that. So behavior and safety of students. The first one here, this is a kind of interesting goal. Basically, we wanted to look at how many kids had more than 2 referrals in the first quarter, and then received 3 or more referrals in the second quarter. Basically, our kids, are the plans working? If we have a kid that's having a lot of behavior issues, they continue to have a lot of behavior issues, or are we changing behaviors? And so what we have found is that this is met, and we've actually saw a huge reduction, of 47% reduction from first quarter to second quarter. So that really, so we had 123 the first quarter, 65 the second quarter. So we're oriented trainings, accessible to all stakeholders. We'll have building specific, and that's, we've met that, we're continuing to do that. We'll increase the support student mental health services. We have some things in place that we haven't quite accomplished. We're really trying to get a telehealth program for students in place, so they can call and get any mental health anytime they need. We're not quite there yet, so we didn't really feel comfortable saying we met that yet, but we are on the road to meet that goal. School culture and climate, haven't met these here really. So the first one was staff retention at 90%, and last year we were 85. Hopefully we do a little better next year. Pay raises within 5% of classified positions, we're not there yet. Again, most of ours are minimum wage, where it's $17 is about what we found to be entry level for most businesses around here. The district, the schools will promote school culture and surveys. So in October we had 169, and that dropped actually to 147, so we didn't meet that. And then how would you rate? We dropped. We stayed very close at within a tenth of a point, but was not met there. We're trying to improve that by 5%. Just some more parent and community engagement. A lot of things we're still working on here. Increased parent engagement, consistent academic platform. We're really close to launching that. It's working well right now with our staff, but we hopefully will turn that on shortly. We'll increase parent community through a variety of means. We hope next year to be really launching or looking into a new website that has better school apps, that sort of thing. So right now we're not meeting that, and we'll also have our survey that goes out. We're going to measure it in March, so we don't really have the data either. So right now our market has not met. The district will increase partnerships with business and community. We're trying to expand this through our registered internship apprenticeship program in the high school. So we're starting to see that take off. But I don't think we're quite there to say yes, we've accomplished that goal, mission accomplished. So still a lot of work to do on that area, but I think we're definitely moving in the right direction. Financial growth. So again, open new elementary school. We heard a lot about that. We're not there yet, but definitely on the path. Maintain fund balances at 25%. We're doing that. Monitor enrollment at middle school and high school. We're doing that. And upgrade and refit facilities to accommodate expanded preschool. And we have not met that, but we're definitely on the path. So those are kind of the highlights of the CSIP. Happy to take any questions.
When's the current cycle for CSIP over?
So this will be 28, I believe. So we've got 3 years. May 28.
So we're like 6 months in to this.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Yes, we're just essentially just started this one, and we'll be working through that. And some of these things will probably flow in out of met and not met as we go through, but we're going to meet them every time.
Other questions? I guess we're ready for the finance update.
Okay. This is our standard finance monthly update. So here we are. So compared to last year, revenues are trending a little bit below where we were last year. Expenses are almost exactly the same percentage of the budget. So we're tracking exactly the same. Fund balances are down a little bit. We're at 22%. Now this is our low watermark of the year. So when we're really in big trouble, we were really, really low, like almost $0. So I think we had about $1 million, less than $1 million in the bank. So 22% isn't a bad spot to be at the low mark. We'll see that in our graph here. So here's our fund balances. As you can see, they're spending down. We're a little bit lower than we were last year. So this now we'll receive our checks from local taxes. And it's a big check that we get in January, and then a little bit more in February. So we're at a low water mark, but we'll be hitting our high water mark here in the next month or two. So that will really give us a better indication on where we land budget-wise. Right now, our fund balances are definitely at a 3-year low, but they're not in a bad spot.
Still healthy.
Still healthy, right. So here we go. Revenues this year so far. Locals up a little bit. County is up a little bit. State is down there, and that's mainly because we had extra early childhood payment last year. Federal is a little bit behind as well. And so revenues are down about $800,000 at this point. So we'll see how that plays out throughout the year. December, our expenses are up about $1 million. So that's while you see our fund balances going down, we have a little less revenue, a little bit more expenses. It's moving things down. So salaries are up, benefits are up. We didn't give raises. Purchase services are up a little bit, and then supplies are very close. So So then fund balances, or Fund 4, so we have about 1.5 in the capital projects account for varying projects that we need. Bond issue, so we've had a revenue of about a little less than 31 million. We spent about 16 million, a little less than 17, so we have about 14 right now in remaining in bond issue. So we will, in March, hopefully be issuing some more bonds to help finish that final payments, because that's not enough to cover the cost of the building and the cash that we have. So we're gonna have to issue some more bonds to do that. Contingency fund, so right now we're at $400,000 still in our contingency fund. Buildings, so we're doing okay there, but still more to do. And that is, any questions on that?
Nope. No questions, I guess. The last superintendent report is update on board candidate file.
Yeah, so I'd like to thank Carolyn, Frankie, and Rich for signing up for the board again. Thanks for coming back, and congratulations. We don't have to have an election, so you'll be back on the board. Consistency is good, so thank you very much for volunteering to serve the children of our community.
Yes, thank you very much. All right. Okay, so that concludes the superintendent reports. Next section is the consent agenda, and just as a reminder, the personnel sheet within the consent agenda, we did amend
Just to correct dates.
to correct it, so just call that out in a motion.
I move the approval of the amended consent agenda.
Frankie?
I'll second.
Thank you, Keith. We have a motion and a second to approve the amended consent agenda. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. All right, so old business, we've got 2 policy approvals. I believe one, we were questioning the wording from the last meeting. The other one is a new one, so. So Dr. K, if you got updates on.
Sure, yeah, so the JHG one was that aligned to the state statute language in that one. And then the ACA is just, since Dr. Ross is going on military leave for a little while, we needed to add Dr. White and myself to that policy.
Thank you for that. Any questions, discussion on the policies? The 2 policies before us? If not, I will entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the policies as presented.
Thank you, Deanna.
Second.
Thank you, Frankie. We have a motion and a second to approve the 2 policies as presented. Any further discussion or questions?
Still don't like the wording, but I'll have to take that up with our state.
Yeah. Talk to the
It's
legislature.
always good to follow the law, even if we don't always agree with it. All right, well, we'll go ahead and vote. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. All right, moving on to new business. First item of new business, Dr. Stotts has joined us. He has some comments to present to us, to the board. He's asked to address the board, so he is here to do that. So Dr. Stotts, if you want to come up and present what you have.
Thank you for having me. My name is Adam Stotts. I'm a dentist and business owner at One Family Dentistry on North Highway 47, 505 Ingram Lane, just south of where the new construction is going on at the new Daniel Boone Elementary School. When I heard that the elementary school was being built, I was excited because I thought it was a good thing for the school, for the Warren County, and for Warrenton itself, but it's kind of turned into a little bit of a nightmare, honestly. So I first started working at Warrenton Family Dentistry in June of 2021 and purchased the business and real estate shortly thereafter. Had no issues at the property, have been very happy where I've been at. But over the last year or so, I've had some issues. So on April 4th, there was a heavy rain that came through Warrenton, and the runoff from that rain caused some water to pool on the north and west side of my property. And I called Mr. Klingsmith and express my concern about this, about how the water would be managed in the future. And I was sure that we would manage it in the future and there would be no issues moving forward. And then the weekend of April 19th through 20th is a Saturday, Sunday. There's a lot of rain that came through that weekend. And then when I showed up to my office on Monday, April 21st, 2025, I observed a construction worker dumping water on my property on that northwest side. And I actually have a photo of them doing that. And so again, I called Mr. Klingsmith and stated that I was frustrated with how this process was going. And he assured me that my frustrations were warranted because, I was told that you all wanted to be good neighbors and I wanted to be a good neighbor too. And so I was, okay, how can we manage it? How can we mitigate this? I was told that we would talk to the construction company and there'd be no more issues with water or the property or anything like that. And then June 4th comes, and then we have that big rain last year. And at that point, the barriers that were constructed to keep water off of my property failed. And there was a huge amount of water and mud and rock and that sort of thing that was pushed up against the north side of my building. And I actually have some pictures of that as well. You can see here, like, it looks like a river is going through the north side of my property. And I was, very upset because I was concerned that there's going to be a huge issue with water getting into my property and all that. And you can see here where there's mud and rock and all that sort of thing pushed up against the north side of that building. I called Mr. Klingsmith to come out, and he came out to the property and witnessed this firsthand of all the water that was coming through on my property. I don't have a video. Well, I have a video on my phone. I would have bought a flash drive and showed it here of where that water was coming from the south side of your guys' property and flowing onto the north side of my property, onto the back side of my building. And so Barb came out with Mr. Klingsmith about, what was going to be done to ensure that there'd be no issues moving forward. Again, and I said, well, what if we do run into issues in the future? And, we say that this would get managed. It wouldn't be a problem. We'd be able to handle this amicably. Well, then in August of 2025, I started noticing separation of the flooring of the wall to the floor. And it's just on that north side. There's about a 2.5-foot span where there's cracking in the drywall where you can see that floor is like sinking and separating from the floor. And I had a foundation repair expert come out and give an estimate for that. And I received an estimate of $33,770 to replace that. But there was under the contingency that I was told that it would take about a week to finish, and that I would need someone else to come in and tear out that drywall and flooring and then replace it after it was done. So I got an estimate for that, and that came out to just under $9,000, $8,955. So my concern is, my business is going to be closed for a week at least to get this fixed. And when we're talking about the separation, I have some photos of the separation as well for whatever reason. There are, I have some photos of the separation that you can see where the wall is separating from the floor. I talked to Dr. Klingsmith about what was going to be done for this, and I was told that I need to contact the insurance company and then attorneys and all of that. And so I've talked to your insurance company. I've talked to the attorneys that represent the insurance company. I was told to talk to the construction company's attorneys, so I've talked to them, and then I've talked to my insurance company, and everyone is just pointing fingers at everyone else. And so I'm essentially being left as the bag holder, and that frustrates me because I've had no issues up to this point, and I enjoy working here, but this is a large pill for me to have to swallow. And here's a few office statistics about my office. I have 11 staff members currently, not including myself, and of those staff members, there are a total of 9 children under 8 years old that, that are children of staff members that work in my office. And, you know, these staff members and subsequent children rely on my office being open and seeing patients to, you know, put food on the table and that sort of thing. And I think really in this whole thing, the real losers is, you know, people of Warren County, Warrenton itself, because not only will my staff not get paid for us being closed, but I'm not gonna be able to see patients. And anyone who's here that is, if there's anyone here that is one of my patients, you know that I care very much about my patients and ensuring that they get high quality care. You know, I requested payment of $60,725. That is to cover the foundation repair, the flooring and drywall tear up, and covering the cost of the payroll for my staff members, not even myself, you know. And I think I'm trying to be reasonable in what I'm asking for. You know, I'm not asking for $1 million. I just want to get my office fixed so that the foundation and the property is in good order, and that my staff members are getting paid and able to put food on the table for their families. And you know, I was told that, you know, you all wanted to be good neighbors, and I want to be a good neighbor too, but this just doesn't seem like, you know, a good neighbor thing to do, you know. And I'm you know, Warren County and Warrenton itself doesn't have any specialists outside of Bankhead Orthodontics. They're here on Mondays, 1 day a week. I have been pounding the table to get other specialists out here, endodontists, oral surgeons, pediatric dentists, and I have some people that have actually talked to me and asked me about coming out here. And I've had nothing bad to say up until this point, but now, I mean, I just am not sure what to do. And I'm coming to you to ask what sort of solution we can come to get this issue resolved.
Okay. Well, I know from our perspective, first and foremost, thank you for coming to present your information. Obviously, it's not a situation any of us want to be involved with, right? We would all assume, or all prefer that it would not have happened from a weather event and all the challenges that you've experienced with your building. I know, I guess from our perspective right now, I think all we can do is just take your comments into consideration. I know we've turned it into our insurance company, and I believe we're waiting to hear back from them. I don't know all the specifics.
Yeah, so they reached out to me, and their attorney reached out to me and actually told me that I got an email saying that it wasn't their responsibility and that I should reach out to the construction company's insurance.
Right.
And so that's what I, you know, that's what I received back. And so, you know, and this is the denial from my insurance company, because I know that was a question of like if we were going to turn it into insurance or not, but it was denied because it's considered flood, which is what I was advised at the beginning of this. So, you know, that's where I'm at this point.
Okay. Are there any questions from the board for Dr. Stotts?
Do we know anything about the status with the construction company's insurance?
No, I don't have information on that.
Let's try to turn that on. Okay, well, like I said, I think we'll take your comments into consideration and make sure that we follow up from month to month with Dr. K and the construction company and see what types of resolutions we can get. Yeah. All right, thank you. Okay, next on the new business list is the contract for an archaeological study. Archaeological
There
study
it
for
is.
MoDOT. There
There
it
it
is.
is.
I got it.
Yeah, so, part of the expansion on MoDOT on Highway 47, they're requesting that an archaeological study be done on the site as part of the environmental project that Matt was talking about earlier. So this is a requirement for MoDOT for us to move forward. Let's hope they don't find anything, you know.
All right, any questions or anyone want to make a motion that we can discuss?
I'll make
contract as presented. All those in favor, I guess, is there any further questions or conversation before we move on to the vote?
Is that just a base thing they do all the time, or is there something in the area they think they
No,
can
I don't
potentially
know if
find?
they do it all the time, but, you know, Matt, you might be able to help me on this. I mean, it's a fairly standard.
It's one of their items on their checklist, but there is something in this area that raises the flag.
Cool.
So hopefully there's nothing, but they have, 30 some odd, the checklist they go through. Raise the flag for that area. They're doing their due diligence.
Do we know how large the area is that they need to?
It would be the whole,
Road
frontage,
frontage.
road frontage, yeah.
Frontage of your property.
On 47.
Right, on
Yes.
47.
Yeah.
All right. Other questions, comments? Otherwise, we'll move on to vote on the motion on the floor. All those in favor of the motion on the floor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. All right, contract is approved. Next is the engineering testing for alternate number 1. It's a change order for some of the engineering.
Right, so this won't go into, this is an additional cost, this isn't part of the contingency funds, this would be a different cost.
Because it's alternate.
Yeah, this is an alternate one, and it's just on the engineering side here, so this is just them, like Matt talked about, examining the concrete, the brick, the steel, those sort of things, make sure it's being installed correctly.
I'm all for it being installed correctly, so I'll make a motion to approve the contract as presented.
I'll second.
Thank you, ladies. We have a motion and a second to approve the contract as presented with SCI. Any further questions or discussion? Seeing none, we move to vote. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. That contract is approved. All right, I think this is maybe our final item of new business, which is the City of Warrenton contracts, which include SROs, crossing guards.
Yep, and Carolyn, this is our same contract we had before, and Carolyn had reached out to me about adding an amendment to this, so I reached out to the city about the amendment that she suggested, I'm going to explain that. The city was fine with this, basically it's SROs wanting some additional training. Carolyn, I'll let you
Yes.
inform them.
So I requested that they go to the training that I went to previously. That is training that we are required to have 2 people in the district trained in by SB 68. So currently, Dr. Ross is one, I am one, but we need to get someone who's not me, and not him, because he's not leaving
He's gonna
soon.
be out of the country.
Yeah, and in, conversations with, CES, they stated that having our SROs trained in that, it would be advantageous for them to be the ones. So I requested that they get that extra training.
When do we do the contracts with Truesdale?
They're on a different cycle, I think their fiscal year is July.
Yeah, it
The
comes
city-
later.
Yeah, the city did theirs, so the city will have to take this back and approve it at their meeting in February with the amendment, assuming we want an amendment. But yeah, so Truesdale comes, their fiscal year is different. City
Just
one-
don't want to leave Officer Taylor out.
Right.
Is there a cost for that training?
So it was free when I did it, now it's $100.
Is that what we're picking up right there?
We would pick it up.
Then we'd also pick up any mileage, meals.
Yeah.
There-
Where's it done?
There is one in St. Louis in April, so, local.
Yeah. fairly
I guess just to be clear, that amendment is in the contract.
So we would need to add that
We need to
tonight,
add it,
and
okay.
then we'd send the contract back to the city, they would approve it at their February meeting.
So we have to have 2 trained at,
You're supposed to have 2 school security officers that have that training, that level of training with that designation.
okay.
As part of SB 60.
So if there's an SRO turnover, we would have to have another one trained down the road?
Yes, and every year you have to do an additional 8 hours in order to keep your training up to date. can be done online. There's a lot of online things that they put out frequently, and so you can log those as your 8 hours.
So do we need to make a motion to add that amendment?
Right, to the contract.
Okay. Before we can approve them?
Right.
Or just, okay.
As long as everybody agrees. then-
I like the idea.
Yeah, I do too.
I like it.
Okay, wonderful. Well, then I will make a motion to approve the contracts with an additional clause stating that we will have an SRO attend the Missouri, or the CES School Safety Academy annually.
We're just doing one SRO?
I mean, it'd be better if we had more than
Yeah, I
one.
think if we just had it in the contract at one, we know for sure.
Okay.
We're good. Last thing we want is that everyone go at the same time.
Well,
Right?
no, not at the same time,
That's
that
not-
makes sense.
Not good,
Yeah,
so
but,
I think one would be
Okay.
sufficient, and if more, at a minimum of one.
Okay.
If more, one, we can compensate that.
okay.
All right, who's writing that up?
I am.
Okay.
So you made the motion.
Okay, there's a motion on the
I'll
floor. Do we need-
second it. Sorry, I asked a question out of order, but.
You're good. We have a motion and a second to approve the contracts with the additional wording that Carolyn is working on, around the CES training for our SROs, of at least one SRO. Does that cover the motion sufficiently? So, all right, so all those in favor of approval of the motion on the floor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. All right, motion carries. So we will need to get that amended and wrote up, I guess, according to the state policy. All right, we don't have any policy first reads, moving on to the next section of business. So the next section is miscellaneous, where we start with celebrations. So if anyone has any celebrations or fun things to talk about that are happening within the district or community, now is the time.
I'm sure if Mr. Barton were here, he would want to celebrate just the community rallying around our student who had a medical emergency recently, and the fact that he's doing well in his home is a big deal, so.
Definitely worth celebrating.
I'm sure he would say something about that, and I do always appreciate the community rallying around someone who's in need, because I think that's one thing we do well.
Without a doubt.
See you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Matt.
Any other fun things to talk about? I don't have any.
We've been on break.
Yeah.
We've been- Kids are back in school.
Kids are back in school, that's celebration.
The real celebration to me is no snow days.
Yeah.
So far, January, time we're in school,
Don't say
January,
that.
I'm happy.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
just said that.
tomorrow, coming up on the beginning of second semester
That's right.
next week, so.
I think it's something to celebrate that we had the smoke event at Warrior Ridge when we didn't have students in the building.
That's true.
And our first responders, Ameren, were really very helpful. I really want to celebrate them too. They were very, very great.
That's great. All right, next item of business is workshop topics for January 22nd meeting.
Right, so we will need to have a meeting on the 22nd to, for negotiations on the beginning of February, so we need to get that together, kind of get our plans for that. But we'll also need to probably be finalizing what we want to do for next year with the new building. We talked about this a little bit. Looks like it will be open, or have an opportunity to have some students in it, beginning of the next school year. Probably need to be finalizing some plans for that. So we need to talk through that problem. But that's all I have on the list for work. And personnel, apply personnel.
Great. Does that date at 5 o'clock? Typically when we start the work sessions. Good with that? Okay. I guess we're ready to set the next regular meeting.
I make a motion to set the next regular Board of Education meeting to be on February 12th, 2026.
Second.
Thank you, Frankie. We have a motion and a second. To set the next regular meeting of the Board of Education to be on February 12th, 2026. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
I'll make a motion to set the next closed Board of Education meeting to precede the regular meeting on February 12th, 2026. Thanks, Scott.
I'll second.
Thank you. All right, we have a motion and a second to set the next closed Board of Education meeting to immediately precede regular meeting on February 12th, 2026. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That one also carries. Last item of business.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Deanna, I called you Carolyn on the last one.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, didn't pay attention. I was looking that way, guys.
I'll second.
Thank you, Carol. A motion and a second to adjourn. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?